What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another live show, and I'm going to be talking about tonight's MLB slate, per usual. And in today's video, I tweeted out earlier there's a giveaway going on. All you got to do is comment in the chat and put your username for my website, and I'll give you a free 10 Guru credits. Let me shut my TV off real quick. This is mad loud. If you're not familiar with what Guru credits are, it's just a currency for my website. These credits allow you to buy any access you want to either a membership or an individual lineup. So it really gives you it really lets you fluctuate throughout the site, so you don't get locked into a long-term membership. I'm just gonna go right to the MLB season tab. This is where you buy your memberships. My computer's just going a little slow right now. The 10 Guru credits gets you one lineup, so it equals $2 because that's how much one of my lineups is. So it lets you test me out for one night. But either way, I'm going to be talking about tonight's slate. If you don't want to purchase any credits or get any lineups, because I know a lot of you like to do your own thing and make your own lineups. So just these videos are here for you to help guide you through making a lineup. I'm going to tell you some games I like and some games you should stay away from. I normally make this about 15-20 minutes. On a really big slate, it's probably going to be towards 30 minutes. But tonight there's only 8 games, so I'll be able to rumble through this in about 20 minutes at the most. Also, for the pitching tonight, there's no one you want to pick really other than Justin Verlander. This is a Verlander kind of night. I know he's super expensive, but no one else is worth it at all. Cueto's coming back from an injury, so he's going to be on a pitch limit. Even if he wasn't on a pitch limit, I don't love him anyways. Rodon is in a really tough spot against the Astros. I mean, when Carlos Rodon is your third best pitcher on the slate, that's when you know it's not a slate you want to spend down on a pitcher. You just got to spend up on Verlander, cash, GPP, you name it, and you just got to find some value in the bats. There's no point in risking a bad pitcher tonight to spend up on bats. There's not even a Coors game on this slate, so there's really no reason to have to spend up on any bats. Marco Gonzalez has been pretty good as of late, but he's just got a really tough matchup against the Angels just because he's a lefty and there's a lot of good right-handed bats in that lineup. You got Trout, Kinsler, Upton, Albert Pujols. He's in a tough spot tonight. If he was against a lineup that wasn't that great and had a lot of lefties in it, I would maybe suggest him, but you could also maybe look at Shelby Miller just because he's against the Padres and he's at home and he's 6,400 if you really want to go cheap. But for the most part, you really don't want to spend down on anyone. You want to spend up on Verlander, and don't worry about me not seeing your username in the chat either, because when I go back and look at this video, I'm gonna be able to just see everyone who put their name in the chat. So don't worry about that. I'm gonna update your guys' usernames once I finish the show. Just a good way to get people in here, just because I just started this live thing and I'm trying to get more viewers. So let's rumble with it. So so only look at Verlander for pitching tonight. There's not many better pitchers in my opinion. As far as bats go, I'm just gonna run through each game, and I'm gonna really dive in and show you guys who I like for the hitters. So the first game, Miami at Washington. I don't really like many guys in this game. It's just not a good game to stack, really. You can maybe look at Matt Adams coming off of the DL. He was really hot before he got hurt, and he is only 3,000. He's got that lefty-righty matchup tonight, so I don't mind him tonight at 3K. You could even look at Murphy if you want to do a game stack because he's only 2,900. Definitely don't mind these two guys here. They're against Pablo Lopez. Not a bad matchup here. I'm not picking Harper. He's been way too cold. He's batting like 215 all the way up till the All-Star break. His power numbers are there, but he's not consistent enough to mention for cash games. Adams and Murphy, not a bad 1-2 pairing here in this game. But I'm probably going to look elsewhere when making my cash lineup. Let's see what Vegas has this game at. They have the Nationals at minus 190 and a 9 total, so they are expecting them to score a lot of runs in this game. So you could definitely look towards Adams and Murphy. You got Soto hitting second, another good lefty-righty matchup, but he's kind of expensive. I think he's like 3,700 or something like that. You wouldn't really be able to pick Verlander and pick Soto. That's just not the guy you want to spend your money on when you're spending up on a stud. Rendon's hitting in the meat of that lineup. I think he's pretty pricey as well, 4,200. Yeah. My takes out of this game are Matt Adams and Murphy solely because they're lefty-righty. They're hitting in the middle of the lineup and they're 3K or less. So those are my 2 suggestions from this game. Texas at Detroit. You got Matthew Boyd against Gallardo. 2 pretty bad pitchers. Boyd the lefty. Definitely not too shabby to look at some right-handed Rangers bats in this game. Gallardo, he's been just all over the place. Since he left the Brewers, he's been on a ton of different teams. Not a good pitcher anymore. Good to look at some left-handed bats in this game for the Tigers. And this is the one game on the slate that it doesn't have a rainout potential, but it does have some rain in the forecast. Not that I'm really going to look at picking a pitcher from this game, so whether there's rain or not, it's not enough to postpone the game, so hitters from this game should be very okay. There's some spotty showers, but what I was reading earlier was any rain should be gone by first pitch tonight. So if there's any rain at game time, it's probably going to last not too long. So not a bad game. It's the only game that has any rain on the slate. So let's look into some batters. I totally forgot to actually dive into the game. Let's look at the lineups here. So we got Boyd against Gallardo. You got DeShields leading off for the Rangers. He's definitely a good cash game play here. Lefty-righty matchup. You could go with DeShields and Andrus. I think they're both very affordable over on FanDuel. I think Andrus is 3,200. Very fair price for him. And you got DeShields under 3K. You got him at 2,900. So these two guys are pretty good picks here. They definitely could be more money. 29 is definitely a fair price for DeShields, and 32 is good for Andrus. They both have those lefty-righty matchups. So definitely not a bad play here if you go with those two. I'm not really looking towards any other Rangers in this game. Mazzara's got a lefty-lefty matchup. Beltre's a little expensive. And then as we go further down that lineup, it gets grosser and grosser. So for the Tigers, Mikey Matuk is not a bad play, only because he's bare minimum. He's not a good player. But if you do want a punt play, not a bad idea here. He is hitting against a pretty bad pitcher in Gallardo. So if you do a little Tiger stack, Matuk is leading things off. So not a bad play, only because he's 2,000. I don't think he's a particularly good player in general. But any guy leading off at minimum price, he's going to get 4, maybe 5 at-bats. Doesn't hurt to punt play him. I'm still deciding if I'm going to do that in my cash games. Definitely worth it though, just because it's a Verlander slate and you need to save some money. So not a bad play to play him. As far as the other Tigers bats go, you got Castellanos batting second. 3,900, just too pricey for me. Let's see who else we got here. Who's batting third? Oh, Goodrum. He's a switch hitter, so he's going to have that lefty-righty matchup. I don't know his price on 3,100. Not a bad play. Maybe a little pricey for me, to be honest, but he's not a terrible play. John Hicks, I think, homered last night. Anyone past him, I'm not really looking at. Victor Martinez has really been shit in the bed towards the end of his career here. Hicks, not a bad play here. 2,600. I don't mind me some John Hicks tonight. Let me check his game log. I think he went deep last night. Just because when I hawk all the games, I'm just always looking at every game just to watch my team. I think I remember seeing Hicks hitting a homer. Let's see here. Yeah, 1 for 3 with a walk and a homer last night. So he's in good spirits tonight. He's got a good matchup against Gallardo. 2,600. You can't go wrong there at catcher first base position there. For the next game, like I said, you want Verlander, meaning that eliminates any White Sox hitter. Do not even sniff the White Sox tonight. You got to have Verlander. Even though if you've been using my lineups this past week, which have been very hot, I have been a Yoan Moncada lover as of late, and he's been really cleaning house for me as of late. Unfortunately, I can't go with him tonight just because he's against Justin Verlander. But as far as the Astros go, they're fairly expensive too. If you're going to have Verlander, it's hard to spend up on these Astros. I love, one of my favorite plays of the night is Gurriel, though, batting cleanup. He's only 2,900. I had him in my lineup last night. He was only 20% owned, and he went deep for me. He was actually the reason why we ended up winning, because last night was such a chalky night that basically half the team or more were like 50% owned. So having Gurriel hit that homer being 20% owned was huge. We rode right into the cash because of it, so I can't not pick him again tonight against the lefty Carlos Rodon. You got that righty-lefty matchup. An absolute dream matchup for Gurriel, who's really been turning on the power numbers as of late. As far as the rest of this Astros game go, obviously Altuve and Bregman are awesome plays, and Springer. They're all great plays. They're just all over 4,000. There's just, you can't physically pick them while having Verlander. And like I said earlier, I think you need Verlander tonight. The only other guy in this game you could probably pick with Verlander, obviously Gurriel, and then I think Gaddis. 3,400, a little expensive. I'd rather just have you pick your poison and pick one of those first three Astros bats. You can fit one of them in with Verlander, especially if you have Mikey Matuk in at minimum value. It opens up some salary. Out of those three guys, I have to say you got to go with Altuve just because he's the same price, and he's obviously the better player out of those three. So Altuve's in a good spot tonight. If you do spend down on a cheap pitcher tonight, like a Shelby Miller, the Astros are a top team, if not my favorite team to stack tonight. You can honestly just go with those first four hitters and really get a nice payday. George Springer, Bregman, Altuve, Gurriel, those guys could all honestly hit a home run tonight against Rodon. I think Rodon's not going to even sniff the fifth inning tonight. I think he's out of the game by the fourth, and I think the Astros absolutely dominate him. Another reason why I think you need Verlander tonight is he's a top favorite of the season on the Vegas slates here. You got him at a minus 350 favorite, which is an absolute bananas favorite. Verlander's just in such a good spot tonight. Vegas loves him so much, you can't not pick him. I mean, I can't stress that enough tonight. Verlander in cash games is going to probably be over 85% owned. I'd be shocked if he was any lower. So just pick Verlander and really just worry about the bats for your cash games. Verlander's honestly not going to even really matter tonight because everyone's going to have him. On to the next game. We got Atlanta at Milwaukee. Not a great game either here. Julius Chassin has been low-key pretty good all year long, but not good enough to pick just because the Braves have a really good lineup and they've been really hot this year, really surprising everyone. Chassin's got a 3.7 ERA. Like I said, not bad enough for me to target Braves hitters, but not good enough to have me pick him against the Braves. This game is honestly a bit of a wash for me. You could look at Milwaukee batters. Max Fried is not a great pitcher. I think he's a lefty as well. So you could look at some Brewers right-handed bats in this game. Let's see. Do they have their lineup out? Yeah, you got VR leading off, and he hasn't been leading off all year. I think FanDuel has his price fairly cheap. Let me take a quick look. $2,500. This low-key makes him a pretty big cash game play tonight, almost a chalky play. Leading off in this game, let's see what Vegas has this game at here tonight. 8.5 total, not bad. So if you want to look towards VR, I don't hate it. I don't think he's chalky, but not a bad play. Aguilar is also in a really good spot tonight, batting third, that lefty-righty matchup. He's more of a GPP guy just because he goes deep. And his salary is so much, I can't really spend up on that. it's turning into an absolute brick oven in my room right now because I had to shut the AC off. It's so damn loud. It's probably 90 degrees plus up here. It's absolutely miserable. Gonna make for a quicker show here. I gotta buzz through this because I'm actually starting to sweat down my forehead. Um, but yeah, like I said, Chassin not good enough here against the Braves, and the Braves not good enough to spend up on here because Chassin can be great at times. Uh, Not really much else in this game. Hernan Perez is batting fifth. FanDuel loves having him at a cheap price. Oh, he's minimum. Oh boy. Yeah, this is not a bad play here. Now that I see that he's batting fifth, you got the lefty-righty matchup here. I think he's a better punt play than Mikey Matuk just because he's a better player. He's still not that great, though. He's been having a tough year. He doesn't play every day, which is really tough for a player to go through, and he has a lot of zeros out there. Obviously, a punt play. If you want to go with him and Matuk, that's 2K each. You could probably spend up on two Astros there, even with Verlander. So Perez is not a terrible pick here at minimum price. Baltimore, Minnesota. This is probably the best offensive game of the night on both sides here. You got two shitstorm pitchers in this one. You got Andrew Cashner against the Twins and Aaron Slegers. I've never even heard of his name, and I know basically everyone in the MLB, so that really says something if I don't know who you are. This guy can't be great. He's a right-handed pitcher. Okay, so we're going to be looking mainly at lefties in this Orioles lineup. Could also look at righties. That doesn't really matter, honestly, with a righty. So let's check what Vegas has this game at. You got a 10 over/under here. So this is the highest total of the night by a good margin. The highest total by a whole point. So this game's definitely a good game to stack. Vegas likes the Twins a little bit, so they're expecting the Twins to really tag the Andrew Cashner tonight. This makes Joe Mauer a fantastic cash game play tonight. 2,500. Leading off, he's going to get 4 to 5 at bats. Expect him to get on and score. The Twins are going to be scoring a few runs tonight. Expect Mauer to be leading things off there. You could also look at Logan Morrison solely for his power upside. Definitely a GPP play, not a cash game play. I think he's batting below the Mendoza line this year. Let me do a quick check. When I have so many tabs open and I got the YouTube going, this really slows down my Mac, and my Mac's normally very fast, so sometimes it just goes through a little bit of a brain freeze. But yeah, Logan Morrison, as we know, he's batting 189. Really sketchy, but if you want to do a twin stack, I don't mind him at 2,700. There's definitely worse plays out there tonight. Let's see, who else we got in this Twins lineup? I'm assuming Brian Dozier. Yeah, Brian Dozier's batting third. Rosario's batting second. Rosario's in a really good spot tonight, but he is like 3,800. I don't think it's worth it. There's better guys to spend up on for 3,700. So not really a guy you need to be looking at. I do really like Eduardo Escobar in this game. He's only 3,300. He's an all-star candidate this year. Batting cleanup. It's a very fair price for him. He sometimes easily goes over 3,500. So to be at low to mid 3,000 is a really fair price for him. I certainly don't mind Escobar batting cleanup tonight, but that really sums it up on the Twins side of things. As far as the Orioles go, I'm locking Tim Beckham in my cash game lineup tonight. He's been great since he's come off the DL. Third baseman, 2,300. He's leading off. Like I said, this game has a huge total, so you want to get as much exposure to it as possible. And a lot of these hitters are pretty fairly priced. Beckham has been, I think he has points in every game since he's come back from the DL. He came back on, June 25th. He went 0 for 4 in his first game. But I think he was just getting a feel for things because since then, he is on a 8-game hitting streak. He's the table setter for the Orioles tonight. He has a really good chance of scoring once he gets on, so I definitely like Tim Beckham batting first at 2,300. Why do I keep clicking on that tab to look at the lineups? A little promotion there, that's why. You got Machado batting third, obviously a fair play. I do think Machado is going to go to the Phillies. I don't know what you guys think. I think he fits them perfectly. He was doing a little bro-to-bro talk to Carlos Santana last night. I think there's a little bit of a trade vibe going on. I know the Phillies are on top of that list. it really makes sense for Machado. I know he wants to play shortstop, even though he's not the best statistic defensive shortstop, but he would fit perfectly. Philadelphia is low-key just a really decent team this year. They got good pitching. I want him to go to the Phillies just as a baseball fan, just to get him out of the AL East as well, because I'm a Sox fan, but I don't see him being in an Orioles uniform by the trade deadline. I don't know what you guys think, but I think he's going to end up being in a Phillies uniform by the end of July. It just really makes sense. As far as DFS goes, I don't think I'm really looking at him tonight just because he's so much. And again, if you have Verlander, you can only spend up on one or two studs, and I don't think Machado's the stud to spend up on tonight at 4,500. My favorite plays in this game, like I said, Joe Mauer, Escobar. You could look at Morrison for GPP because he's cheap. Love Beckham. There's really no one else in this game that's fairly priced. You could look at Chris Davis for GPP, but his stats are so gross. I throw up in my mouth a little every time I look at Chris Davis' stats so far this year. Not worth it. Trumbo's batting cleanup. I don't know how he's actually been as of late. 3,300. 3,300 is 1,300 too much on Mark Trumbo. I'm not going to lie. He should be a minimum guy. I just don't think he's a good player. 11 homers. I guess he's got some home run upside, but at 3,300, I'm not going to be playing him. I don't know what you guys are thinking, but I'm not really looking at Mark Trumbo. I really just like Tim Beckham on this Orioles team tonight, leading off, and just a really good price. But let's move on to the next game, San Diego at Arizona. I had mentioned at the beginning that Shelby Miller is a decent GBP play tonight just because he's 6,400. I think Vegas has him as a favorite tonight. Minus 148 favorite. The total isn't that big at 8.5. I can see him mustering through 5 innings with the lead, giving up a couple. I could see him getting over 20, 25 fantasy points tonight. And at 6,400, not a bad bang for your buck here if you don't want to go with Verlander. If you pick Miller, you can really just stack your offense, and that's obviously good for a tournament. Just in case Verlander does have a surprisingly bad night, you know he's going to be really high owned. That's obviously the idea in the logic behind picking a really cheap pitcher, but you do have to know how high your risk is. And on a night like tonight with the pitchers we have, if you go with anyone other than Verlander, you're going to really be giving yourself a high risk of losing. So out of the shitty pitchers though here, Shelby Miller is probably the most appetizing to look at here at that price, believe it or not. You can even look at Jeremy Hellickson at 6,300. He can put together a really surprising quality start, and if he's going to ever do it, it's going to be at home, and it's going to be against a team like the Marlins. So Hellickson's not a terrible play either. I'm pretty sure Vegas has him. Yeah, he's a minus 194 favorite tonight. That's higher than I was thinking. You still got that high total of a 9, but he is a pretty good favorite tonight, so he could catch the W. Not a bad play. Shelby Miller and Hellickson, if you are to pick someone other than Verlander, do not pick those guys in cash games. Pick them in just a couple tournament lineups, in my opinion. So, like I said, I got a little distracted there. I really don't like the Padres, just because, like I said, Shelby Miller could have a good game, and they're just not a good team in general. If Eric Hosmer's fairly priced, you could maybe look at him. 3,100, not terrible. I don't think any of the late game lineups are out, which makes it tough to do these last 3 games. I can just take a guess on who's going to play. It's baseball, though. Anyone can have an off night. Jake Lamb, 3,600, not worth it. I'm just going to go to the utility spot and quickly graze over this. Peralta, 3,600, not worth it. Pollock, not worth it. This game doesn't really have a high total. Eric Lauer, though, is a lefty, so you could maybe benefit from a couple of these righty D-backs. Lamb and Peralta are both lefties, so I don't think they're going to play. You know what? We could get that spot start out of John Ryan Murphy tonight because he's a righty. Who's their catcher normally? Do they have a... I don't even know who normally catches for them. I think it's Murphy, honestly. So he should... Oh, Alex Avila is normally the catcher, but he's on the DL. So you got John Ryan Murphy tonight. He should be playing, and when he plays, he bats cleanup. So 2,400, taking a wild shot in the dark here that he's going to play. We obviously don't know the lineup yet, but stay tuned for that as it comes out. He's not a bad play tonight. 2,400 is a good punt play. He's got the righty-lefty matchup against Eric Lauer. I honestly wasn't even thinking about him until I just saw him now. Not a bad play at all. As far as everyone else in this game, Nick Ahmed can sometimes get a two-hitter, batting second in this lineup for the lefty-righty matchup. But now that A.J. Pollock is playing off the DL, I have a hard time believing that Ahmed's going to be hitting towards the top of the lineup. But if he is, 2,600's a pretty good play. So if Murphy and Ahmed are hitting in the top 5 hitters tonight, I do like their value tonight for their salary. Not a bad play at all with those two guys. As far as everyone else goes in this game, I don't like anyone. Ketel Marte sometimes gets a pretty high spot in that batting order. 2,700, not a bad play either for him. But that really does it for me in that game. Angels at Seattle. Like I mentioned earlier, I would be on Marco Gonzalez for GPP because he's been good, but he's got a tough matchup tonight against the Angels. Just not really worth it for me. I don't think the Angels' bats are worth spending up on either, just because they're pretty expensive. We don't know the lineup. If Ian Kinsler's pretty fairly priced, then he could be a good play. 2,900, not great. Valbuena's got the lefty-lefty, don't like it. Simmons is 3,300. If he's batting up there, he could be a pretty fine play. But I'm really looking more towards the Mariners side of things. Vegas has this game at a 9 total. They do like the Mariners against Jaime Badia. I think that's how you say it. My accents for any Spanish name are pretty shitty. So for the Mariners side of things, you can pick some lefties. I think Kyle Seager is going to be fairly priced in this game. 3,400. Good, not great here. But he'll be batting 5th most likely with that lefty-righty matchup. I don't think anyone's fairly priced in this game at all. For GPP, you could look towards Denard Span. He should be batting like 6th. He's got that lefty-righty matchup. And even Ben Gamel at 2,300 should be in this lineup as well. Span and Gamel make for some pretty good tournament plays. But as far as anyone else goes in this game, I don't find the need to spend up on Mitch Haniger or Upton or Cruz, and Trout's 5,000. If you have Verlander, you just can't afford to pick any of these guys. They're not really worth it. Let's just roll right into the last game here because I'm sweating my nuts off right now. It's a huge grind, honestly. St. Louis at the Giants. I'm not trying to pick any Cardinals just because they're all so inconsistent. And you got Johnny Cueto back tonight, but he will be on a pitch limit. I think this game has a pretty low total. Yeah, 7.5. Cueto's the favorite here, but he's got that pitch limit, so that doesn't make him exciting to pick as far as a DFS standpoint goes. This just makes this game so easy to fade tonight. Basically, all 3 of these games are easy to fade, the late night games. Other than the few guys I mentioned on the D-backs, and maybe Shelby Miller for a GPP. These games are just not great. I'm not even going to really go through this game. I mean, you got Hernandez. Anytime Gorky's Hernandez is 3,800 and McCutchen's 4,100, that just shows that this game is an absolute shithole tonight. You don't want to... Ozuna's 2,800, maybe you could go with him. But again, you're at Safeco. It's a pitcher's ballpark. It's tough to hit home runs there. I don't like this game at all. I wouldn't really suggest picking guys from it. Just a quick recap, though. You definitely want to pick guys from Baltimore, Minnesota. You want a couple Astros in your lineup. You definitely want Gurriel. And you definitely want guys from the Texas and Detroit game. Definitely pretty good plays in that game. And then, like I said, in Washington, Matt Adams and Daniel Murphy have good lefty-righty matchups, and they're pretty good priced. Like I said, I know you guys have been commenting in the chat, but just put your username in here and I'll give you a free 10 Guru credits. It's very simple. I'm just trying to get more people in on this live stream. You can't do the chat when you watch the video afterwards. You can only chat while I'm doing it live. And I'm not going to be rolling too much longer here. But it's just a good promotion here. I'll dive right into the chat room right after this and update any username in there with 10 Guru credits. And you guys can go right ahead and possibly buy tonight's either cash or GPP lineup and get a feel for how the site rolls. If you go to my homepage, you can spin a daily wheel every day. It resets 24 hours from when you spin it. You can win anywhere from 1 to 5 Guru credits. This makes it this adds a little fun factor to it, and it makes you just come back to the site every day. And obviously, if you don't have an account yet, make one, register one, so you have a username to put in that chat room when I do this live show again. And one last thing is I'm doing a giveaway on Twitter. If you retweet that tweet I did last night, I'm picking the winner tonight. One random retweeter, you can win 100 Guru credits, which equals out to $20. So all you got to do is retweet it, and you'll enter yourself in the drawing for that. Let's see, let me get to that. I'm just on my notifications. My computer just runs so damn slow. It's unbelievable. But yeah, it's not loading quick enough. So just go on my profile, at FD_Guru, and retweet that giveaway. Yeah, let's not do that. Alright, let's get out of that. So yeah, guys, I hope you guys found this video helpful. I'll be live around 5 o'clock basically every day. The hot weather is going to be gone mainly tomorrow, and then the rest of the week, so I won't have this issue of sweating my nuts off. Until next time, though, guys, I'm the FD Guru, and I am signing off. See ya.